opening. I don't see enough cocktails in hand. It would have made this content way more interesting, but we'll have to wing it. It's great to see you all. Thanks for coming in. I know you came to see Avaneesh. We're going to get to him in just a minute. Before we did, I wanted to give a sneak preview of something that we're pretty excited about relating to the Foundation Innovation Awards. Before I do, my name is Sean Manafo. If I have not met you, Chief Revenue Officer at Litera. Joined in early September, and it's just been an absolute pleasure not only to understand my organization, but learn so much about so many of yours. It's one of the most welcoming and radically candid professions I've probably had the pleasure of working in. It's also what I think is going to drive our innovation forward. But in the spirit of sharing and learning and best practices, I think it's a great place to start with Foundation Innovation Award. I would ask for show of hands. I'm assuming there are going to be very few, but raise your hand if you saw Rob Lowe's opening. Probably very few of you. No pressure. There was a lot of little things I picked up from his opener. The one I think that was the most relevant for me, at least, as it relates to innovation and what we're doing here. He talked about what made him able to maintain his relevancy compared to peers that were falling behind. And one of the things that stood out is he talked about how it was those that looked to check every box for the right part versus checking enough boxes. That's innovation. That's being an early adopter. So as we start talking about the different firms in just a minute that were the finalists and eventually the winner, these are the folks that were on the front end of that innovation curve to drive business forward, to drive the industry forward. And it doesn't mean having all the boxes checked to start, but it does mean that you not only can start to check them, but you can start to create your own box. And that to me is true innovation. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. But first, the why and what are the criteria? So what are the qualitative metrics we looked for when going out to market and getting this innovation award? First and foremost, what's probably important to everyone in this room, how do you go win more business? So all these firms expressed and created unique ways to better leverage these technologies to go win more business. The second piece is how do you define value across more parts of the organization? One big thing I think you'll hear more from Litera is this concept of ecosystem. It's where 1 + 1 = 4. It's where multiple point solutions put together can create a much more powerful system than a lot of different bifurcated and distracted systems, whether it's data, user experience, or chair swivels. It's how do we connect the dots for you as a firm. These organizations really led the way in how they cross-pollinate value between different parts of their organization. And the third piece is just inspiring others. Coming up with creative ideas, innovative ways to use the tool that we didn't maybe think setting out for this new product, and yet look at the value that it's creating. And that's something we want to not only celebrate, but it's something we want to share in continued form as a best practice. So, the virtual applause for the finalists for the Innovation Awards, which is really exciting. There's a lot of content we're going to share at Groundbreakers that double clicks into each of these firms and what they did. We'll also follow up with details. For those that are interested in learning more while you're at the event, we do have a booth. The puppies are gone. For those of you that saw it, but we could probably try to maybe get some more back or a couple of rats off the street that'll look about the same size. Call it whatever you want to call it. But we will be giving all the detail at Groundbreakers. But again, incredible firms, incredible innovation. So if your firm is up here, congratulations. While it was very difficult to pick a winner, there was one that stood above the others. And that is a big shout out to Trout and Empire Block. So again, this is the beginning. I want to be very clear about a new chapter in Litera's future, where we are really trying to harmonize best practice, think about technology in a way that we really haven't before, and really try to innovate in a way that's much more a holistic ecosystem than thinking about each individual part of your business living in a fragmented universe. So this is the first of many to come. So for those of you that have good ideas, share them. I know it's a very, very close, tight-knit community. Let's make each other better and drive this innovation forward. So with that, I don't think you need much of an introduction. But in the last 6 months, if there's one thing I've learned in the business and the practice of law, whether you're building technology fast or you're highly acquisitive in acquiring technology, you can acquire IP, right? You can acquire technology. One thing you can't acquire is vision, but most importantly, passion. That is something that has to live within the fabric of an organization. I can tell you, in the last 6 months, there's never been a time that I felt more excited to be in this profession with you all, but most importantly, within a firm and an organization that I believe is uniquely set out to help really drive this industry forward, but most importantly, being led by someone that I believe has a very clear vision of where we're going. So with that, please allow me to introduce Avaneesh.
I feel like you should talk to my kids about all that. I'm not sure they would share any of that with you. This is great to be here. Look, Litera is not known to do things at this event very often. You know, we show up, we have a little booth. Traditionally, it's a good e-discovery show, but it's been changing. But I think it's also recognition that our business is evolving really fast now. And I think having conversations more than once a year in August in a very hot climate, it makes sense doing it at least twice a year now with our updates, because there's so much that we're going to be putting out. I do want to start by just acknowledging a few things. Look, we are in a very interesting climate from our own inflation issues, public policy changes, letters from the White House coming out. And we're all trying to figure out what this means for this industry. And I'm hopeful that it's a moment in time that it moves on and we go back to being lawyers. I was a lawyer early in my career, so for me, this is a meaningful thing that's happening. We're trying to figure it out together, and know as a partner in the ecosystem, we are not blinded by it, and we are here to work with you and support you in whatever way we can through this interesting time period. There's a conversation I had last night with a handful of CIOs, and no one's openly having conversations, and I think that's probably a fair thing and a fair position to be in. But I know internally there are conversations and planning, and if there's anything we could do to help or a sounding board, let me know. As a person, I'm reassessing my own travel right now, so we don't. We're all working through this together, and I'm sure we'll figure it out. You got some drinks. I'm in the middle of more drinks, so we will be effective. I did use AI to practice this, so it's a really succinct presentation. It won't take too long to get through, but if I get through it quick enough, I'd love to do Q&A at the end. So do think about that as we're walking through. You can ask me questions about Litera, AI in general. Not the NCAA tournament. UNC is not doing well, so I'm not a Duke fan, so let's stay away from that tournament. But we can talk about anything else you want. Okay. So this is just a glimpse. I'm sure all of you have seen data like this through your own lens at the firm, right? And the speed at which we're seeing things happen, the investments coming in. Every 2 weeks, someone else has fundraised a significant amount of money for a thin wrapper or a thick wrapper on a model. And it's a fun spot to be in. We get to see a lot of activity from investors looking at our space and bringing more dollars to it. But I think it's also worth noting that when VC investment comes in and you see a lot of startups happening, you will see failure rate also go up from these startups. So when we are talking to firms in meetings and talking about what are you investing in, there is a consistent theme of we are testing this. Do you have something like it? Because we know we want to be with a vendor that's going to be around, or are you buying it? There's always a funny question. But this is a very rapid pace of innovation coming out. Some of it is true innovation, some of it is copycat, but there's a lot happening. And I'm really appreciative of it for a couple of reasons. One is we've wanted to be in this space as a brand for a long time. But look, we had to go through a period of massive deployments to the cloud. It took us 20 years to go from desktop applications to the cloud, and we're still using desktop apps today. But that journey was long, and this next one's fast. Right? We're doing things so much more quickly today. And I think I'm happy with the competition showing up in the Bay Area because it's opening up all of your apertures to have meetings with us about Gen AI and other opportunities. Without that happening, I think these conversations would have gone a lot more slowly. So while it is competition, you never want to be competing. You wish it was an open runway. It does help us quite a bit. So it's been good to have that. This pace, though, is really interesting. And I don't know how many firms are actually recognizing what's happening. The tools you're using today were made 12 months ago, right? The tools that you're going to be using tomorrow were made 12 months ago. So as a brand, we have to think about this. And our CTO and our CPO are thinking, 18 months from now, what are the models going to be? And let's build for that. We have to kind of guess what's going to happen. So sometimes we'll release things now going forward that may not be great today, but we know as the models improve, the information will be perfect. But we have to build so much more forward-looking than we have in the past, and that's new for us. I think it's new for everybody else. But it is a good thing to think about. I took it back to my friends and family at home. Like, everything we have around us now in technology is old technology. Like, even you could be using ChatGPT. That ChatGPT model was made 12 months ago before you got it. So recognize that there's so much more out there than you're aware of. I was fortunate enough to spend 3 days in the Bay Area really embedding myself with the community there, not just in legal tech, but broadly speaking with the startup market. That space is back to living in a house. You know, there's 8 people living in a house coding, and they're building tech, and they're doing crazy stuff with ideation you never even thought of. And that's all going to come through consumer-led tech or B2B tech. But we're back in that innovation phase, and the difference is this felt manageable. This will not feel manageable for a lot of you, right? It's not going to feel manageable. You're going to need to look at investing in new titles, new people in the business, fresh minds, and it is a do or die kind of situation, unfortunately. And it's that mindset even for the consumer at this point, right? If a consumer is not using AI or technology in their own day-to-day life, how are they going to maintain strength in their own work in the future? So we have to recognize that this is a pivotal moment of change. It is not just we're going to test it. We have to. It is part of our life and poverty, and it's happening fast. And so that, like I mentioned, comes with its own set of challenges that you're all facing. How do you invest? Some firms have really aggressive partnerships and are opening up the aperture to investments. Some firms are kind of holding dollars back because they don't know what's happening, but you can't be blinded by the fact that there is some money you have to invest, and it will be wasteful money, right? Even as Litera, when we do our own AI investments internally, half of it's not going to work, right? And you're going to have to waste some money here to figure out what the answers are, and that's got to feel really strange from the lister, so be okay with that. And then the other piece of it is you're going to have a lot of folks that think they can do this on their own, right? So you got to manage all the point solutions that come up. Again, like the old desktop app days. How many point solutions do you have? And then Litera came up and built Litera Desktop. We're going to get back in that rhythm here of having a bunch of point solutions. And then I always hear about, we don't need anybody. We're going to build it ourselves. We have 5 data scientists. We're going to go knock it out of the park. You're going to lose. I mean, you're going to compete against someone who's not doing that and is investing with 3 partners, and you're going to be doing it yourself. It's just not. That's not the industry you're in. You're a law firm. Tell your partners we don't want to do this. You are a law firm. You're here to read. You're here to think. You're here to be an artist. You're here to practice law. You're not here to code. You're not here to do stuff. It doesn't mean you don't manage your data. It doesn't mean you don't analyze it. It doesn't mean you don't predict it. It doesn't mean those folks don't exist. But let's not build software inside of a law firm if we can avoid it. So, our positioning here is very consistent. We are an enterprise-grade product, 24 hours a day support, and we're available globally. Right? So we can support a firm from a small Austin office all the way to Budapest if we had to, right? And something you haven't experienced with us is our innovation cycle, and that's a true statement. I think our innovation cycle really started second half of last year. And it's scary to think the amount of releases we're going to be doing now going forward. Every month, you should almost expect Litera will have something in the market. It could be an advancement of our existing tooling, or it could be a brand new product. It could be something you've invested somewhere else, and now we have that offering. The speed at which we can deliver technology has completely changed from what it was historically. It is a really fun place to work. Like, it really feels different. It does not feel like a business born in the late 90s anymore. It does. We show up every day to work, and I want to compete with the Bay Area every day, and I think we are on the right side of that. When we think about the future and where we're headed, we met as a team last fall and said, where are we going as a brand? What are we really positioning ourselves as being? And as a nod to the awards we just had with Foundation, that is the cornerstone of our business. Drafting has been part of our ecosystem forever, but when we think about the future, that moat we have with experience management and how much value that can drive to partners, associates, BD folks is pretty magnificent. So we're really investing in that and believe we can be the experience company for this industry. Right, we can drive the experience through a firm. What did you do in the past to predict the future? What did you do in the past to manage pricing? I think that's the spot we're going to have the right to win for a long time. And more importantly, this is these 3 boxes I've had for 7 or 8 years now. We really want to have the right data, the right place at the right time. So if you're a partner and you want to do an RFP, that data should be just sitting there waiting for you. Don't go hunt for it. All right, if you're an associate negotiating, that should be right there with you. What did the counterparty do last time? Can we do stuff on inbound email versus waiting to go figure it out? So we really want to put the information we have in Foundation and now with Peppermint more into the ecosystem at the right place, right? It should be such a simple way of working. No more looking for data. It should just be there waiting for you. And hopefully it's right most of the time. And then looking back, how did we get here? You know, this slide evolves over the years as acquisitions pick up. But for a long time, we've been really focused on I say, call it from this point back, we've been really focused on maximizing the value of first to 50 associates, right? That tactical work that lawyers did every day, I think we've been premier at that workflow, from drafting documents, comparing documents, transaction management, Kira. That's the job of the first to 50 associate. Our story from this point forward is about the partner, the rainmaker, the BD folks in the firm. I spend most of my time thinking about that space now at the firm. More energy around what do partners care about? What do rainmakers care about? What do managing partners care about? How come they don't use technology for their jobs? Who's keeping track of partner A going and meeting new clients? Who's tracking partner B's email activity to go get new business? What does that work style look like? Why are we not doing that work? I'll give a nod to Eric, who joined our board. He used to be the managing partner at Skadden. We had a conversation late fall, and I said, if I could save Skadden like 1% to 2% of their costs with technology, how excited would you be as a managing partner? And he said 0. If you could help me find 1% more revenue, that'd be amazing, right? So for us, that's where our focus and attention is going from an innovation standpoint. It doesn't mean we're not working on the first and 50 associates. They're important people. But I think the longevity of the practice of law is like, how do you find that work that no one's doing? How do you make sure you're winning long term? And that to me is a pretty exciting spot to be. So a bit about what just happened in our story that was made news earlier this year. You know, we acquired Peppermint as a very strategic way. Right? So we had Upper Sigma at Salesforce CRM. It wasn't going well. We've always wanted to be a Microsoft house. It's just a very strong belief that the Microsoft ecosystem is the place that we're going to win. It's safe, it's secure, it's global. They do the right stuff. You already have it. We've been in the Microsoft Word environment since 1999. We've been playing with Outlook. The Peppermint acquisition makes this more real. Our Outlook vision and story just gets so much stronger. And now we can take a client from meeting them at a bar all the way through harnessing their data in Dragon, putting it back in Foundation in one ecosystem, which means you can do more analysis of that data. That's really compelling. Right? Think about all the places in your daily life, if you live in that ecosystem, how much more productive you are versus having to go from app to app to app on your phone. So that's what we view this as. And this commitment to Microsoft, that's just a statement we're making. We're not going to deviate from this. If we can build it on Microsoft, we're doing it. All right, we're going to spend time with them and really figure out how we collectively build roadmaps that make sense. Because it's the safest way of doing it. We're not building our own LLMs. We're not going to do anything that other people talk about. We're really focused on leveraging what they've done, internally and externally. So there's a lot from Litera you can get, right? There's a lot of technology you can buy. We've stripped away on this slide a different viewpoint of the landscape. This is all the different things your firm is buying today, or you're investing in, workflows you're solving for, and all the different players you interact with, right? All the data players you interact with, all the processing you interact with. And this is a pretty compelling place to be. But if you're a CIO or IT director or CKO, that could be 85, 95, 100 applications that you have to manage, 100 different vendors, 100 different renewals. And we think that's not the right way to go forward. You can't innovate in this ecosystem very long. So with Litera, this is a very, very aggressive slide. But these are all the applications you can get from one vendor that holistically talk to each other. Right? With Foundation, we can move data back and forth and be in one ecosystem. All right? So you go back to this map, we can sit down and talk to you about how do we actually win work, which are these boxes. How do we sit down and talk to you about what do partners need, right? And then when they win work, how do you actually go through and do the work? And how does Litera support the yellow boxes here of doing work, right? From document comparison, shipping and expense management, how do you do the work that's labeled here with Litera? And then finally, how do you do it safely? How do you govern the work that's sitting around from metadata cleaning to records management? Right, so we try to tell the story that matches how the firm is thinking about investment and the workflow that you go through, and that's covered by the Litera story, right? So from left to right, finding work, doing work, and protecting it, we think that story lands pretty well. And it continues around the whole idea of right data, right place, at right time. So with Litera, right, can we use all the data that exists in your ecosystem? Can we give it to you at the fingertips that you want it? And then can we make it at the right place at the right time, right? That's really important. The time part of it, I think, is pretty interesting to think about, right? You don't want this stuff to show up 2 weeks later. It should be at your fingertips today. The rest of our world gives you data when you want it. This ecosystem should work in the same way. So with that, this is what we announced last week, Litera One. This is how we are visualizing work going forward. It's a new Word, Outlook interface, and a web interface. And you can do all of our tooling and all of our work inside that ecosystem. Client matter profiles in Outlook, document comparison in Outlook. You can do all the drafting tools in Word and Outlook. You can see firm data on Outlook. You can see peppermint data on Outlook. Right? So for us, if we can keep lawyers and practitioners and partners in their ecosystem as long as possible, I think it's a winning argument. To save me some time, we'll share a video.
Litera One, your legal experience simplified. All your workflows in M365.
Introducing Litera One, your legal experience simplified. All your workflows in M365 and powered by AI. A unified cloud interface to automate the full spectrum of legal work with embedded experience insights, seamlessly integrated into the lawyer workflow in M365. Powered by Litera AI Plus, Litera One connects your experience data and the Litera ecosystem to bring unparalleled efficiency and insights across any device. Streamline drafting, improve review accuracy, optimize knowledge retrieval, and drive firm performance. Unlock embedded workflows and AI Plus insights in Word, streamlining routine tasks. Increase efficiency and enhance the quality of associate work. Empower partners with experience data and insights from AI Plus workflows directly in Outlook to optimize client outcomes and profitability. Continue using Litera's market-leading drafting tools, like Litera Draft, with reimagined native workflows to accurately repair, compare, and proof documents. Unlock brand new workflows to engage in efficient contract analysis and transaction management with Kira and Transact. And leverage new Litera AI Plus capabilities to deliver documents that exceed client expectations. Ensure legal work is grounded in your unique experience with intelligent insights delivered at your lawyer's fingertips, meeting them where they work the most. Interrogate documents for key information, get quick answers to general legal questions, extract deal point insights, and understand what's market without leaving Word. Litera One extends its power into Outlook, integrating key workflows and insights directly into your Microsoft 365 workspace. Benefit from contextual intelligence into client and matter data, CRM and ERM data, matter management, pricing, finance, and more, directly in Outlook, anywhere they work. Arm partners with the experience insights that maximize client value and firm profitability within their native workflows in M365. Collaborate with more efficiency by relying on automated document workflows for metadata cleaning and redline generation. Make accurate data-driven decisions and respond with urgency to client requests with instant access to insights powered by Litera AI Plus. Grow your firm by deepening client relationships and optimizing interactions with data delivered at your fingertips, anywhere you work. Differentiate your client experience and transform legal workflows with the first fully integrated legal platform for Microsoft 365, connecting every stage of legal work.
The deck was made. I go, I don't want to. We got to make a break for me here. So the video was put together. I think it's pretty compelling. As a past practitioner, and I'm talking to folks for the last 7 years, 8 years around the problems we're trying to solve. I don't think we could have solved these problems without the innovation that's come out in the last 2 years. Right? We would still be stuck doing work the old way. A lot of you would have not thought about investing in tooling that you didn't need. But now if you don't, I feel like you're getting left behind. And this idea of the Microsoft ecosystem, I know we've talked about a lot today, it is really important. Right? The safety and security of investing with Microsoft should feel right and should feel good. right? Why test and play with other LLMs that are not baked in the Microsoft ecosystem? We don't want to do it, right? As a brand, we're not doing it. So I wouldn't trust the firms doing it either. To me, investing with what's happening with Microsoft is the way to go. You saw the nod of Litera AI Plus in that video. And that's what we're calling our investments and products and features that are coming out going forward. So some of the old technology you've known for a long time, like Compare will now have Litera AI Plus embedded into it. And it's a way for us to flag where is Gen AI being used in the ecosystem. In case some firms want to bifurcate or not use those things, we want to highlight those to you so you know where they are and what they're doing and not hide behind it in any simple way, right? Again, we want you to trust us that we're not trying to hide the stuff behind the scenes. We're telling you exactly where you can identify AI in your work stream. And I think it gives us a chance to be really competitive in the long run, right? We can try different things. We can do different things going forward by imagining not a completely new product, but can we just embed the right idea at the right time in that workflow that is backed by Gen AI? Right? Not everything has to be Gen AI. Like it's being used way too much as like, it's not, right? The whole world is not going to all of a sudden be Gen AI. That's not how this is going to go. But there are moments in time of the work that you do or your lawyers do where AI makes meaningful impact in your day-to-day jobs. And the area that I'm excited about as a builder of tech and the ideation of it is agentic AI. Right? How do you actually remove some of the waste in the workflows that are created inside law firms using agents to go do the work? And I'm not saying like meaningful work, right? Not work that's like creating content for a brief that gets filed with the courts. More like, hey, I want to go retrieve some data. Right now, we ask an associate to go spend like an hour or 2 hours a week to go find something. I think the agent can do that job better. And then we look for places to embed Gen AI more broadly, right? You saw in the video, almost everything we've done historically, we're reimagining that workflow going forward throughout the ecosystem. Because that to us is the winning argument that we can make across the table from a competitor that is trying to do the same thing, right? The holistic view of what can happen inside a workflow, I kind of believe, because I have to as CEO, we're the only brand that can do that. This is a pretty important piece that we have not talked about in a while. So when I coming back, so if those of you know I was gone for about 2.5 years on the board and came back in the fall, this was an area that we had to refresh, right, our commitment to the customers. It felt like coming back, we had made some missteps in the past couple of years in how we engage with the marketplace. Some of the decisions we made commercially and packaging and renewals and where we focused our attention was inward. I can tell you in the last 6 months, we've changed that dramatically. I told the team that in April, I wanted some of the customers I met in October to tell me that they feel better. And that does seem like the track is right. It doesn't mean we're perfect, right? It doesn't mean we've changed overnight, but we're doing the things that really make an impact on our customers. And for me, that's really important. The longevity of this brand to survive another 10, 20, 30 years only happens if you don't hate us, right? It's just how the world works. You can be annoyed by us. You can have a bad day with us. That's going to happen, right? Software doesn't work all the time. How many times does Teams fail on us, but we still use it? How many times does Salesforce crash, but we still use it, right? Things happen. We can't be 100%. But we have to be right 99% of the time. We'd be up 90% of the time. And we have to be focused on that. And to show you what we're doing in this space is, as a business, we've pivoted in January how we run our organization. We've invested in AI completely as an organization. Our development team is almost 100% using AI to come to market. Right? Our coding velocity has gone up considerably. Our velocity has increased. Our capacity went up by 50% without spending a single dollar. Right? So our throughput of solving problems and support issues has increased because we don't have to spend months solving problems. We can do it in days. We're spending money in support and using AI to help deliver faster responses to support tickets that come in. Or you can throw bodies all day at that problem, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to hit metrics that all of us expect support agents to do. So leveraging AI, we can go faster. I have a goal for our business. By the end of this year, we need 100% adoption of AI in our business. We need to hit our goals this year, and we need to do it with less capacity. We have to be nimble and aggressive to survive right now. And that's us, right? And I think every law firm has to think the same way. There's so much competition out there amongst yourselves in this room. Someone's doing X, Y, Z, you're doing A, B, and C. You've got to be doing something. We just can't sit still. So we're committed to invest dollars internally to drive results for all of you going forward. This is an internal slide that I wanted to share with you. Kind of how are we talking about our goals for the year? How are we talking about what success looks like for us? Number one, which is number 3 on this list, but number 1 for me, just because I've been part of it for so long, is getting drafting into the cloud. All right? Being a desktop app going forward just doesn't work. So starting in April, you'll start seeing our releases that are in the cloud with Litera One. Right, we talked about last week. We're going to start rolling it out in a very phased approach, being very cautious of segment type of customer. But I think over the course of 18 months, we should have most 15,000 customers in the cloud with drafting. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to walk with you. We'll crawl with you if we have to. We'll make sure this journey feels really good to get drafting in the cloud. And to make a note, don't freak out when I say drafting in the cloud. There will be some technology that has to be offline because we recognize lawyers don't work with internet all the time. So some things have to work both ways. The top one is really, really key. So experience and AI embedded into lawyer workflows. That means getting Foundation out there. That means getting Peppermint out there. And that means getting all the stuff that we're building into the hands of people that need it. So we have to get these technologies into your hands in a very quick way. We need to integrate all of our workflows that are meaningful in Litera One. And then finally, a nod to the last slide, is customer sentiment. We have to keep doing work every day to get better. All right, just being honest with all of you. I recognize that we're not perfect every day, but we are committed to that, and it's one of our 4 big pillars for the year, and our big rally cry for the year is like everything that we do has to make this market like us more than it did yesterday. So with that, I'll stop. Thanks for taking the time to visit us. We do have like 5-10 minutes for questions, and then have some drinks. If anybody has any thought about it. I'm also okay keeping it pretty awkward and silent. I'll give 30 seconds of silence if people have questions. If there isn't one, it's fine. Cool. That's my 30-second countdown. There's some wine, there's some beer. Talk to anybody with a Litera t-shirt on or badge. We're happy to answer any questions you have. And enjoy the rest of the show.